Welcome to the first episode of Behind the Closings with Akilah Yaminah. Come with me.
Hi, I'm the CEO of Little Kitchen Charlotte, and we're cooking up for real.
Welcome to the first episode of Behind the Closings with Akilah Yaminah. The first episode is the story of Akilah Yaminah. The purpose of Behind the Closings with Akilah Yaminah is for us to talk about the behind the scenes of closings that no one talks about when it comes to real estate. I'll start off by my journey. 21 million in sales volume in 2 years. It didn't happen overnight, but now we're here. How did I get there? What's going on now? How are we tackling the business in 2026? And how are we growing in real estate? That's what this episode is all about. So let's get into it. Really and truly, my story started as being newly here in the Charlotte area. I currently live in South Carolina, also have a home in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, but also still growing. I moved here only 5 years ago, relocating from San Francisco right to Charlotte. The first thing I did when I came here was I wanted to make sure that I owned. I didn't want to rent. So the first thing I did was purchase a home. After living in major cities from New York, LA, San Diego, San Francisco, I was ready to own. So I bought my first house in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. And just 2 years after that, I was able to sell that home. It was a new construction, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It was actually under 300K in the university area where everyone hangs out. And after 2 years, because of capital gains tax, which we'll get into in another episode, that's when I sold the home. That home started my journey into real estate because I was able to see what that home's equity was, what I could sell it for, and how I was able to gain over $100,000 in what we call a seller's net. That means that's what was wired to me. And what did I do with that afterwards? I invested into real estate again. I bought my investment property, lived in it for a year, and then came to what some may call a dream home to then live in. That journey alone is something that I teach my clients, my team, my loved ones to do every day. That's what got me started, and that's what continuously pushes me to work with others every day to help them be able to do the same thing when it comes to ownership. In our culture, in our communities, it's really huge to be able to own a piece of land, to be able to say, I own this, this is a part of US, or this is part of where I live, to be able to own and say that's mine. So I want to be able to have these episodes to kind of talk through that story, talk through those things, and to move forward. That was just a quick, short story of how I was able to get here. But now, let's take it back. Really and truly, this story of me becoming an agent is something that my family has known that was in me years and years ago. Really and truly, my story starts back when I was 7 years old. It's actually a story you might hear from my dad one day if he ever comes sits on the couch with us. But my dad is originally from the Virgin Islands, and my mom is from Cleveland, Ohio. They actually met when they were 15 years old in Cleveland in high school. And by the time I was 7, we had my little sister. They were continuing to grow our family, and it was time for them to purchase a home, their first home. Something that didn't really happen in a lot of my family. It did in some, not in all. And during that time, my parents are not the most creative people, and they will tell it to you themselves. And they asked me to be able to help pick out the items for their home. We went to a builder, we went to several builders, different lots, got to pick out our lots, pick out the home, the floor plan, the color schemes, etc. And that was something that even at 7 years old, they leaned on me and allowed and empowered me to be able to select that for our family. It's something that was always close to my family, something that we would do on the weekends to go look at that home, see it get built, take something from the ground up, and then also seeing how it can make a house a home and a place for you and your family to be in is something that's always been touching to me. It even touches me now. That's something that my parents allowed me to be a part of, and also that it sparked who I am in being an agent today, to create that space for families to do the same thing. Your dwelling in your home is a sacred place, and I thank all of my clients for allowing me to be able to be a part of those journeys. Yes, we talk about the numbers, we talk about 21 million in 2 years, but really and truly, even when I started out in real estate, it was all about how can I help 24 families? I want to be able to help people being able to have a different type of wealth knowledge, financial knowledge, home knowledge, and being able to pass that down for generations. Going from 7 years old and going even into my teenage years, it doesn't help that my family moved almost every 4 years. You would think that we were a military family, but my parents had great opportunities, had great schools that they wanted us to be a part of, or tapped into that equity that we talked about, right from selling their homes. But by doing that, that also helped my adaptability to be able to work and meet other people in my career, and being able to now even reference with people different locations, cities, states, and relate to them in different ways because I was able to move a lot when I was a younger kid. Even going into high school, another fun fact about my family is that my dad is an organizational psychologist. So my high school years, as anyone, is kind of really important on being pivotal on what you're going to do next, right? Who are you going to be when you grow up type of conversation. And him being a psychologist, me and my family, before going to college and selecting what degrees we wanted to pursue, we took an assessment test. And that assessment test shared that I was a person who not only loves analytical things, but also really enjoys the creative space of the market. Really and truly having that kind of middle ground between numbers and creativity and artistic side also showed that one of the things that I would love to do one day, and during that time, I wanted to be an interior designer. Now, some people have different opinions on an interior designer, but I love being able to also place that into homes as well, as by being able to have that special touch. So having that, and also having that yearn for many years, it isn't what I pursued at first, but I did use that creativity and those analytical skills to start my career in marketing, and really and truly continuing my degree. So I actually went to Miami University in Ohio for 4 years, graduated there, and then went into a rotational program. After that rotational program, working for one of the top medical companies, medical and pharmaceutical companies in the US, they had me relocate to several different cities, that being the ones that I mentioned, like LA, New York, and San Francisco. With that being said, I also continued to pursue my education and went to an international business school where I got my master's in international business while also still working. And at that time, I actually worked for one of the top tech companies, Fitbit, then being owned by Google. So that was my time and stint at Google. And then during that time, they told me I could be remote, looking at the kind of COVID years that we talk about all the time. And I decided to move to Charlotte. Charlotte was always somewhere that I wanted to be. It's actually where I looked into undergrad. At the time, it was very far from my family, so I decided to go to Miami University. But with that being said, I knew I wanted to be in Charlotte. And so I took my career to Charlotte. And like I said, I bought my first home with my first job out of my master's program. I knew I wanted more for myself. So while I was living in the house for 2 years, I actually went to go get my second master's at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland, where I got my MBA. And during that time, I continued to sleep and make equity every day. And while I was living in the home, one of my good friends and good realtor friends here in the Charlotte area, she's still an agent today, I tapped on her shoulder and said, I want to sell my house. Everyone thought I was crazy. You just moved in here. This is a beautiful new construction home. You got a great price for it, great interest rate. All those things, I always knew that I wanted to be in the home for only 2 years. And that's because of capital gains tax. After that, after 2 years, you don't have to report back the gains that you make from your home to the IRS. And because of that, I tell all my clients to wait until the 2-year mark to then be able to sell their home. Even before that 2-year mark, I was preparing my house to sell so that when I did sell, it was after that 2-year mark. And again, where you buy, location, the home, the size, all of those things matter when it comes to reselling your home. People used to joke all the time and say, you're one individual, why do you need 4 bedrooms? It wasn't about me, but it was about making the selection of a home that can be able to make that equity back for me while I'm sleeping and enjoying it. Having parties, having cocktails, every day I was making money. End result, when I was going to that great friend of mine that in real estate that I was talking about and tapping on her shoulder, she was able to send me something that we call a CMA, competitive market analysis, on what that home could sell for. And my home could almost sell for double at that point. The CMA really was able to tell me what the house could sell for, which was double what I expected. After having to pay for the buyer side, seller side, taxes, closing costs, attorneys, etc., I still was able to net over $150,000 after 2 years. If I came to you and told you that you could net $150,000 after laying your head somewhere for 2 years, wouldn't you want to do the same thing? Right? And I always tell my clients, let's split those things up into 3, okay? 3 parts. I say that because of the experience that I had. Really and truly, the 3 parts are your personal savings for a new house, and to invest it somewhere, right? That investment could be stocks, it could be another home, etc. And really and truly for me, what I did, because I'm learning these lessons and now able to share it with you behind the closings, is that I took a chunk of that and put it towards my new home, right? I took a majority of it, 90% of it. And then I took $10K to put it towards my investment property, using the entire thing for the home. Now, yes, do I have over 1 million in assets with real estate alone? Sure do. But at the same time, I wish I left a little bit for a rainy day. So that's a nugget that I think and hope that you take with you as well. With that being said, yes, the journey was we sold the home. I took that $10K towards another new construction townhome in another growing area in Charlotte. If you're in the Charlotte area, that is called the River District. It is growing today. It is a huge investment that they're having in the Charlotte area. It's the next Ballantyne. They are reporting that they are going to be investing over $3 billion into that area. I'll share that link also through here as well. With that being said, that is an investment that has a longer term experience. This is something else that I learned. If you are investing into an investment property, let it be a single family home if you can afford a single family home, because there's tiers to it, right? Just like we went through grade school, we had to start at elementary. You didn't grow up and go to high school, okay? So with that being said, with there being different tiers, there's a condo as a tier, a townhome, then a single family home. Right? In a single family home, you're going to make 4 times as much as you will as a condo or townhome. With that being said, I learned that lesson by investing into a townhome. Now waking up in 2026, that townhome has been moving slower in terms of equity, but it will be there because of location, location, location. My single family home, I bought both of those homes at the same time. Yes, I bought 2 homes at the same time. I put a deposit down for the townhome as an investment property in December of 2024. And then I also put a deposit in December of 2024 for this home at the same time. That investment then was able to have the single family home being built with a luxury builder. That builder actually took 13 months to build my home. So during that time, I lived in a townhome. I actually lived in it for a year, which is something else that if you're using a different loan types, which you can talk about in another episode on, you have to at least live in the home for a year. And guess what? Because I was building my home, I did. And then after that, now I have a great renter in there, a renter turned friend. Maybe she'll be on one of our episodes as well. But with that being said, she's living there, she's enjoying the space, and she is continuously growing in that space as well. And then I am here and I'm at my single family home, which also location is important because I continuously look at the equity. Now being a realtor myself, I look at the equity continuously, and it has tripled since I've been here because of location. So that's my journey today. Even with that being said, I have in the past 2 years been able to help over 60 families. And I also have been a part of 3 different firms. Everything is going to take trial and error. Things are also going to put you on a journey that you may have never experienced. But during the behind the closings here with us, during our podcast series, YouTube series, we want to talk about the things that people don't talk through when it goes through purchasing a home. From offer to ownership, from beginning conversations of I want to own a home all the way to ownership, even all the way past I'm an owner, but what now? Those are some of the things that you can kind of experience by sitting here with me. We'll have different guests. We'll have some of my family, friends, agents, which I didn't get to talk about it either. But yes, we have a team. I have a team of agents. I can't do this all on my own. We are a part of Yaminah Co. Yaminah Co has been established since 2025. We have 9+ agents, beautiful agents, thriving agents who are ones that you're going to meet during our podcast YouTube series, and also those that you may know, you may work with, or you may want to. And we have done different deals from commercial to land to investment properties to helping our family members. We are your go-to team when it comes to luxury relocation, corporate relocation, as well as sports and entertainment. We have some of the most and greatest agents, from ones in fashion to luxury chefs to your homegirl in South Carolina. I want you guys to all meet them, and you'll meet them in one of our next series, and we look forward to you joining that as well. But that's a part of being behind the closings with Akilah Yaminah. Welcome.